I am Tom, just one pack, and this is AC on the short Alpha Clash podcast where I'll talk all things Alpha Clash on my way to work. And today is a bit of a spoiler episode. So if you don't want any spoilers about the upcoming sets, or you haven't gotten a chance to look at all the cards already spoiled, go do that and come back. And maybe by that time, all of this is outdated stuff because we already got all the cards in hand. They're spoiled. But anywho, there might be a spoiler too that has not yet reached a spoiled card. So just a heads up about that. I'll save those for last, so you have a chance to listen to the rest. Anyway, let's dig in. So we are getting two sets very close to each other in this point. The two sets being Spoils of the Forgotten, which is sort of a companion set to Siege of the Forgotten, the PvE, which is just about to ship. I think it's about now, or about a fortnight from now. And then Siege of the Forgotten, Echoes of Eternity, of course, where we will see that come out, I think, late September, early October, right? Is the release week. So the spoiler season for that is of course already rolling. So there is an interesting bit about that, or an interesting role in that, and we've just, I think, the first week and a half into that, and there's been some amazing cards shown, and also a few new mechanics. So I'm going to start off with what we all know. I'm going to assume that we all know, right? So the premise of this is that it's found somewhere. So I'm not guessing unless I'm specifically guessing about these. These are keywords that have shown up somewhere, and we know little or very little about. First one I want to mention is action. So action is a new keyword that will be introduced, I think, with Echoes of Eternity. It might be in the spoils as well. What action is just a retemplating of the cards. So it's the shortened version, or the more readable version of once per turn doing your primary phase, just shortened to action. That makes so much sense to me, that just to shorten that, and it's very easy to teach. An action is something you can do all once per turn, right? So I love that. It's very simple. It's been shown on multiple cards. Can't remember the names of any at the moment, but there are plenty of the spoiler cards that have come out that have had this naming convention. Right? The other thing I want to mention, or the next thing I want to mention, is a thing called Rivaled. Now, Rivaled is a keyword from the spoils. So spoils had a card called Alpha Empowerment, and there's also Ultimate Power, I think the name was. Both of these have Rivaled. Now, Rivaled is a little bit different than the rest of the keywords, in that Rivaled both have a meaning in context of deck building and in gameplay. So in deck building, rival cards follow the same rules as any other card, except that you cannot have rival cards in a deck with an unrivaled card in it. Now, as you may remember, unrivaled, you can only have one unrivaled card in your deck. Now, the point here is that if you have any unrivaled card, or a unrivaled card, you cannot have a rivaled card. That is much more confusing when we speak it out loud than when we actually are playing the card game, right? So there is that. In-game, because that is only affecting your deck building, and I might add, the constraint holds even if it's in your sideboard. So your side deck. So if you have an unrivaled card in your side deck, you can't have rival cards in your deck at all, or side deck. That's just a no-go. So that leads to in-game effects. So in-game, a rival card is is limited in the way that you cannot play it. You cannot play it into the resource zone, or you cannot put it into your resource zone, right? So whatever it is you want to do, you cannot do that into your resource zone. Now, that is sort of the opposite of bound. There only can be one in your resource zone. With rivaled, you can't play it in your resource zone at all. Now, having said that, that also leads to that you might want to not have a full set of rival cards, because that might hurt you when you want to play them. Well, they are dead cards in your hand if you can't play them at the board with any efficiency. Then they're simply just dead cards in your hand. You might reconsider if you want a full play set of that. Anyway, that was rival, one of the new mechanics. The next I'm going to talk about is brutal. Now, brutal was spoiled on Thragor, the brutal, I think it was called. It's one of the new contenders, and what's really, really interesting about Thragor as a contender is that, not the contender, but that mechanic is that he does not have the ability himself. He deals or grants this ability to class cards you control, or to a class card you control. Now, brutal comes with a number, like we know from Engage, and have an effect pertaining to that number. Now, Thragor gives a card brutal 1, but it could be brutal X. And what that means is that when that class card deals combat damage or class damage to a contender, I mean, not just hitting it, but actually dealing damage, it deals 1 more damage to that contender. So having that ability, like, you can sort of force your opponent to block with something or take an extra damage. Of course, like any of these abilities, they don't stack. So if you can give a card brutal 1 and give it brutal 1 again, it does not have brutal 2, it just has brutal 1. And if it stacks a 1 on a 2, it will, like in Rage, it won't stack, it just gets the higher of the 2. So that is brutal. That's already been spoiled on one of the new contenders, Thragor, the brutal, from Echoes. Next up is Discover. Now, Discover is a little bit weird to me. Not as much of the effect, but that they chose a separate keyword for this. What I mean by this is Discover. So we've seen Discover on at least 2 cards. One is Mechanized Smash, which is a black clash buff, which you'd love to see it on that. So what Discover means is that when you diminish said card, it triggers whatever effect that is written after. So just like I said, action : something, it says Discover : something. Now, why this is not a trigger diminished, I don't know. I think I will teach and think of it as a trigger diminished. Trigger being something that happens to the card itself. So trigger diminished, not diminished, but diminished. Unless I want to build a trigger around diminish, this would make much more sense as a trigger diminished because that basically what it is. There might be a rule thing about the timing of things that makes it more important that this one triggers in this way. I don't know. My point is that it is just a trigger. What it does specifically, other than have an effect, well, the effect changes per card. And as I said, Mechanized Smash, the Clash buff, has the effect that it will return to your hand. So if it is diminished either by you or by an effect, either by your choice or by the effect of an opponent, what will really happen is that you get it back to your hand. So diminishing someone might have a side effect from now on, which is really interesting. I think this works. It sort of functions with Iron Piston, the contender, the black contender, which we always seen that can diminish, that wants to diminish card, want to get them in the banner lane. You might be able to play along with that and then get something back, or added benefits for doing it. Who knows? Anyway, that is Discover, is the trigger diminished effect. Now, one more thing that was spoiled on a card. This is a bit out of sequence because the last two are from Echoes. What we've seen on the card. So the promo. Let's go there. The promo for the Pro Tour called Hunger of the Void, as far as I remember. Hunger of the Void, I'm going to go with that, has a keyword saying consume. Now, consume in and of itself is a fairly simple effect. It just quote unquote says at the beginning of your turn you must attach whatever has consumed to a Clash card you control. Now, that Clash card might or might not gain some benefits from it, but that could change with other cards with consume. Now, in the specific case of Hunger of the Void, I'll go with that. In the specific case, what effect it will have is that it would buff the card it's attached to. By the end of your turn, if you can either take 2 damage to your contender, or you can banish everything, right? Both the card and I think Hunger of the Void as well. So there's an upside, sure, but then there comes a downside. So you might want to not play that card too often, unless that specific is a part of strategy. Now, what we do not know about this is whether Consume will be part of Echoes of Eternity, or Rising Empire Studios again is playing us and giving us hints of what is to come in later sets. We don't know. There are plenty of things coming in Echoes of Eternity, so it might be that this one just hangs around like a teaser, or is a one-off. Who knows? What I mean by that, by the way, is that we know that action is the upgrade to keyword, but we also know that we will have Brutal, we will have Discover, and the 2 next, I'm guessing Rival, might show up as well. But there just might be more things coming in, right? So this is the segue to the very spoilery part of this. Now, if you don't want to know, I'm going to start off soft with something that is already on a card, but the last one of the 2 has, to my knowledge, not yet been shown on a spoiler card, or the 2 last ones. There's 3 in total, actually. Let's start with the soft spoil here, or whatever we want to call it. On Solar Maze, there is a trigger challenge. Now, I wanted to know what challenge meant. Now, I can guess what challenge is, But in order to know, I looked up in the rule book, the comprehensive rule book, and I cannot find a description for that term. So I don't really know what trigger challenge means. My guess is that it's when I attack another clash card, that is when it triggered challenge, because I'm challenging it, right? Whether that is correct or not, I don't know. Whether it works one way or the other, I don't know. But I would guess that there's a specification on the trigger attack, which works either on clash cards or on contenders, and this is just only if you attack clash cards. Maybe it's only when you can attack contenders. I don't know. Anywho, triggered challenges on Solar Maze, and I cannot find it any reference in the rules. And now for the really interesting bits, right? The two mechanics I have left on my list are two mechanics that is, as far as I know, not been shown on cards yet from either Spoils of the Forgotten, nor from Echoes of Eternity, right? So it might show up from the time of recording until you're listening to this. Who knows? If not, then here's a little treat. And if you don't want a treat for before it gets onto cards, this is where you cut off and say, okay, I'll go listen to the 50 odd previous episodes just to stall time, right? The first one I want to mention is Restore. Let's go with that. So Restore is, as far as I can tell, a new mechanic. I haven't found it on a single card. There we go. It is a numbered ability like Restore 2 or Restore 1. I don't know what scale this would come in, but I'm guessing 1 or 2 is the usual sizes, right, for them. So just like Brutal or Enrage, Restore will come with an X value. What that value will mean is then when a card with Restore, deals contender damage, we're getting at that. When a card Restore deals contender damage, it gets to put that many cards from the top of its library. From the top of its diminished zone on the bottom of your library or the bottom of your deck, right? So if it had Restore 2 and you deal a damage or more to opposing contender in a clash, you get to put 2 cards from the top of your diminished, from the top of your Oblivion to the bottom of your deck. Will that play into any strategies we've seen so far? Yeah, it might. It does seem like Echoes of Eternity is playing around with the Oblivion, right? So you're not quite that much in the Oblivion when you're in Oblivion, right? Superheroes don't want to be there, nor supervillains, right? The last one, though. So the last one I stumbled upon and cannot find on a single card anywhere is Daunting. Now, Daunting, we have cards named Daunting, at least one, but I haven't seen anything with the keyword Daunting on it. What Daunting means is that a clash card with Daunting must be attacked by the opponent if they are able. Now, what I guess this means is that if I have a card with Daunting, the first attack my opponent performs must hit that. Now, this does not matter if um, if uh, if I have if you defeat it or not, you have to attack it if you have a clash card, right? So you potentially are forced to give up one of your clash cards if your opponent has a daunting card with a high attack power. Now, if it's the other way around and you don't kill it, you can't attack any further unless you attack the card with daunting. Um, uh, the upside for me as playing with it, if I have the daunting card, is that it can be attacked no matter if it's engaged or not. So even if I don't use it, engage it on my turn, making it a valid target as per usual basis, you still have to attack it if it's on your opponent's side. Now, if there are multiple instances of daunting, you as the attacker gets to choose which one you want to attack. But please note that the opponent, of course, can obstruct, like in any other clash. Right? So, daunting, you must attack this card if you're able. And if there are multiple, you get to choose. There are no other limitations other than you can always attack it as long as it's on the board. So that was the mechanics I found for both the promo, which for Pro Tour, which really interesting how that will end up, for the new mechanic coming out of Spoils of Forgotten, and the 1, 2, let's say like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 at least. 5 new mechanics coming in Echoes of Eternity. Now, if you like that, don't forget to subscribe, maybe comment on this, and pass it around. It's free to listen, so to speak. Anyway, that's it for me. Have a good one, and I'll talk to you again soon. Bye.